Tuesday, April 9th, Miguel Dorati back here on the CRP, and I'm joined by Devin Miller. That means we've got MMA news, and coming across the boards here, we are hearing that Tony Ferguson has been medically cleared, or at least has passed his exams, and is making calls to fight again. He's calling out UFC lightweight champion Khabib Nurmagomedov for his return. I'm joined by Devin Miller to take a look at what are the chances that that actually happens here. Dev, how you doing?
I'm doing pretty good, Miguel. There have been some concerns. We've covered it here on the CRP with Tony Ferguson. There were some very disturbing reports that came out about a month ago that his wife had put a restraining order on him and went to the media and went to law enforcement about some very bizarre behavior that he has been having, where everything from thinking that microchips were in him and that they were listening to him through his walls, and he was throwing water on her, claiming that it's holy water, and he's kind of had a history of kind of erratic behavior, and he's very known for bizarre press conferences and stuff, and so a lot of people have speculated that it could be some CTE caused issues, that, he's been having some kind of neurological disorder, or maybe that he's just weird, one of the two. And he's come out and made it known on Twitter and stuff that he has passed a medical evaluation, and he has been throughout the idea of fighting Khabib again, which really at this point for this division is the fight that is definitely the fight that needs to happen. I mean, these two have went through collectively the entire division. Khabib, obviously the dominant champion, 10-0 inside the octagon, beat Conor McGregor, Edson Barboza, Al Iaquinta. Then you got Tony Ferguson's on an 11-fight win streak in this division, with notable wins over Anthony Pettis and several other different top-level competitors, Kevin Lee, Barboza himself. So they're definitely the cream of the crop in this division. It's the fight that a lot of people are calling for. The whole thing right now is if Tony is cleared to fight, when is this fight going to happen? Is Khabib going to take the fight? Is this what Khabib wants next? When would it happen? And even more of a curveball in there is you've got Conor McGregor out making him back at it on Twitter. We've covered that also with them going at it. And you've got an interim title fight this weekend at this division between Mac Holloway and Dustin Poirier. And we've covered on the CRP extensively how just log-jammed at the top this division is. And really right there, we five contenders being in the next title fight for this division. Obviously, it's going to be with Khabib whenever he decides to return. So you've got Conor, you've got Tony, and then you've got the two that are fighting for the interim title next. And what the UFC makes happen next is really up in the air.
Yeah, but first of all, it's good to hear that, Ferguson has been cleared in some way, shape, or form. Obviously, there are going to still be some questions, and, it'll be something that people have to continuously look at going forward with him. But if he's ready to fight, that is good. And as you pointed out, that is another stud that gets added to this division. The Nurmagomedov fight's been on and off half a dozen times at this point. So it is the fight that we need to see, and obviously it's the fight that he's calling for. But really, it doesn't look like the timing is perfect here. If he's back and he's ready to fight, he should be active, and we should see him scheduled sometime here over the summer. Nurmagomedov could fight sometime after the July time frame is when his suspension is up, but he's expressed that he's going to sit out till November in solidarity with some of the other guys that were suspended. So it's still up in the air. They haven't touched base or cleared things up with Nurmagomedov and overcome little things like that. Like, is he really going to sit for 3 additional months on top of it, or is there something that can be done? To be honest with you, in my opinion, it would be probably best for the whole division, and especially over the tension and things that we've covered that are now involving McGregor, to go ahead and sign Ferguson and Nurmagomedov on, and let the champion move on from McGregor. The bottom line is assessing things purely from a sport point of view, McGregor's performance against Nurmagomedov, I don't want to badmouth it. It was credible, but it's not the type of performance that warrants an immediate rematch. So let's move on from it and see, what comes up. The thing is from there, the options for McGregor become a lot less palatable unless you're going to roll out the Nate Diaz trilogy.
Yeah, I think there's so many different options here. I think that's possible for Conor. I think it's possible if they try to make Conor and Tony for late July or the August card. If they wanted to move in that direction, I hope they don't, because I agree with you. I think that for the division to move forward, they need to make Khabib and Tony. It's going to be kind of awkward, though, because let's say Max or Dustin, either one of them, because either one of them couldn't win this weekend. Let's say they get through this fight, they come out, they're healthy, they got a decisive win under their belt. Well, it's April. November would be a perfect time frame for them to come back, and unifying those belts with Khabib makes a lot of sense, but not when you've got Tony Ferguson floating around out there. Right. And so that really throws everything for a loop, and it confuses. I mean, there is a possibility, I guess, that Holloway, if he wins the interim belt, that he should go back down to 45 to defend that belt later this year, and he might want to try to float two divisions. I think that's unlikely. I think the only way that he might consider going down to 45 again is if Dustin Poirier beats him this weekend. And if that happens, Poirier is going to be wanting to. I mean, who wouldn't want to fight Khabib at Madison Square Garden if they're going to fight him? I mean, there's going to be a huge opportunity, a huge showcase, a huge venue. It'd be huge for him. So whoever wins this fight this weekend is definitely going to be clamoring to fight Khabib in November, which leaves Tony as the odd man out.
Unless you've got another option, and there just does happen to be a pretty good option if everybody can stay clean and stay out of jail and not have any problems. The bottom line is, as you stated, and it's been a couple of years now, Ferguson and Khabib kind of has to happen. So what do you do with an interim title shot? Now, it's not optimal, but there have been instances in the past where you allow an interim champion to actually defend his interim belt. Again, like I said, I'd much rather unite the belts as quickly as possible and get rid of the interim title. But in this particular case, you could support a Ferguson and Khabib matchup with, the winner of Poirier and Holloway taking on McGregor, which would be a good consolation prize because of the money and the eyes that'll be on that fight. And there's a storyline either way since both men are a rematch. It makes sense in terms of sport and pecking order, because you got two guys who've lost to McGregor, and if one of them now has achieved some type of title like the interim title, then that would be a good reason for McGregor to offer them a rematch. If it was the other way around, both guys have done a lot of work and stuff, but it does sort of make sense that either Holloway or Poirier could be opponents for McGregor in the future with the same storyline, a storyline that's a continuation. So it does give you something to work with. That would be a big fight, and in terms of the lightweight division, you would have the two winners meet from those fights and unite the belts sometime early next year.
Yeah, I agree. I think that the Max fight with Conor would be a very good thing for them to move forward with, and there's been a lot of storyline there. There's been some Twitter name calling and just some Twitter jabs being thrown out there between Max and Conor recently. Namely, when Max Holloway a few months ago actually went to Ireland and tried to press a PR campaign with Jameson whiskey, and actually just trolled Conor really bad with with a Twitter post of pictures with him doing a photo op with Jameson whiskey and just touting Jameson as, you know, the leader of Irish whiskey and been around for hundreds of years. I mean, it was clearly just a brilliant troll move by Holloway at Conor McGregor. I mean, I dubbed it the king of trolls after that because it was really just brilliant and very entertaining. And he didn't even have to fight Conor McGregor directly to really just not even just stab him to land a solid shot on Conor. But that's possible. Like I said, we can sit through possibilities all day with this right now. It's just everything's so up in the air with this division. The big thing though is Dana has come out and kind of signaled that he don't know where Tony Ferguson fits in this division after he turned down the interim title fight with Max Holloway. He can say that all day, but the fact is he's not going to just disappear. They're not just going to be able to throw Tony in there with, you know, let's take Gregor Gillespie or somebody, one of these up-and-comers who's down in the ranking. Tony's just not going to take the fight. So either Tony just doesn't fight or he fights maybe a McGregor or maybe the winner of the interim belt. Somebody, he's got to fight one of them guys up at the top. That makes sense. But moving on from that interim title, whoever wins out this weekend, moving them in there with Khabib, that is going to be hard to do when you have Tony floating around out there. And they're going to have to, I think that's where it's going to come down to. Something's got to be done with Tony. I think the Khabib fight makes sense. But with it being in November, this division isn't going to be straightened out for at least another year. And it's just interesting to see what they decide to put together. And maybe the best route for them would be to slide a move to make McGregor and Tony. And I'm not sure if that fight would happen right now. I think that it could carry a card on its own, even a pay-per-view if it did happen. I'm not sure that's the direction they're going to want to move, but if they do end up making Holloway and Khabib in November, they're going to have to do something good for Tony. And I think that if they do go that route, I think you're on to something though. I think that the most likely route is either they do like Khabib and Tony with McGregor fighting the winner of the interim title, or they do let's say Holloway wins. They end up trying to make Tony and Conor, and let's say just say Holloway for the sake of let's say he wins, then they try to make him and Khabib. I don't think that's the right route, but we'll see. It's the most confusing division up top about where they're going to go with this.
Yep. Earlier today, the news came through that Tony Ferguson has been cleared medically to perform, and that he's back in the mix in the lightweight division. He's been calling out Khabib Nurmagomedov. We here at the CRP, Miguel Durrani and Devin Miller, have been looking at the repercussions of Ferguson getting plugged back into the lightweight division and what that could lead to later on this year.